And now to talk about the latest on the Trump agenda, what Republicans have to do to win in November, we're joined by Kris Kobach, Secretary of State of the great state of Kansas, and the Republican gubernatorial nominee. Kris, great to have you with us. First, your reaction to what the president is doing. I know he held a huge rally for you. Your numbers show that he's had quite an impact, and you are looking good right now. So what do you think?
Well, it's interesting. When the president shows up, people pay attention. They come out in droves. I've never seen anything like this. I haven't seen it, during the second year of the midterm election after Bush took office, after Obama took office. You couldn't see, neither of those presidents was able to show up at any city in America and pull in tens of thousands of people.
It is stunning. Absolutely.
I think it's amazing. And I think the historical pattern of the president losing large numbers of seats in the midterm election may be reversed this year. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But certainly if you judge it by the crowd size and the enthusiasm of the Republican Party and the base, it looks like it could happen.
It's interesting. The most recent polls, looking at the Wall Street Journal NBC News poll, we're looking at a 1 point, and it's within the margin of error, certainly. We're looking at a 1 point advantage for the Republicans in what was going to be a blue wave. And the Emerson poll, by the way, shows in your race, a very tight race with a narrow lead over your opponent. What do you expect to happen here in the next 13 days?
Well, I'm hopeful that we'll be able to extend our narrow lead and make it wider. But, one of the things we've seen in Kansas typically is governor's races have been close. And oftentimes Democrats win, even though our state hasn't voted for a Democrat president since 1964. So governor's races are always tight in our state. And I think we'll be able to extend that lead. President Trump has motivated our base. And I think also the events happening in Mexico with the caravan are also reminding people that, hey, there's a reason why we elected Donald Trump. There's a reason why we recognize that Republicans are the only party left when it comes to enforcing the rule of law on immigration.
I mean, we're listening to Kamala Harris, who's supposed to be a big deal for the Democratic Party, saying that the United States should be warm and welcoming to this caravan, as the next caravan is already loading up. And as I was reminded by somebody in the White House, a caravan, about 5,000 to 6,000 people, has been arriving on our border every day. This is just unsustainable. It is insane. And the fact is, the national left-wing media will not focus on the real issue, which is that this country, according to the Yale-MIT study, doesn't have 11 million illegal immigrants in it, as we have known for some time, Kris. There are somewhere between 22 and 30 million illegal immigrants already in this country. And does anybody want to do the math? What we thought was a $54 billion a year issue now turns out to be something on the order of $150 billion. And the madness goes on.
Right. Yeah, that's the amount of money that we taxpayers spend on public benefits for illegal aliens nationwide. It's extraordinary, and if we keep rewarding illegal immigration like this, we shouldn't be surprised that we continue to see illegal immigration. We've got to stop rewarding it. We've got to stop giving public benefits to illegal aliens. That's one of the reasons why I'm running for governor in Kansas, is we've got to stop giving so many millions of dollars in my state to illegal aliens.
And one of the things just last week, it looked for a fleeting moment, a day or so, as though the Trump administration had won at least a tentative agreement with the incoming president, López Obrador of Mexico, and President Peña Nieto, to work together and to stop that caravan and to end illegal immigration. The building of what I said at that time, I hope, would be the beginning of a beautiful partnership. They have done what they have done throughout this epic of the 30 past years. They are just basically continuing to support the export of poverty and the lack of education that they provide, whether it's in Central America or whether it be in Mexico.
You know, and they're only doing it to their own detriment, because what they are doing is they're encouraging some of their most energetic people to leave their own country and go north looking for fortune in America. And if they really cared about rebuilding their own countries, if they really cared, by the way, about that $500 million plus of U.S. aid that we send south, they would start thinking, hey, wait a minute, maybe we should cooperate with the United States, and maybe we should encourage our people to stay here and rebuild the economies of those countries. Yeah. Because ultimately that's what this is about, is it's economics. It's not a humanitarian crisis that is pushing these people north.
It's also a politically inspired crisis. Yeah, and we now know radical groups, and perhaps the influence of other nation states, or who are no friends of this country, helping the Venezuelans, well, in their role in working with leftist leaders in Honduras and Guatemala, and of course Mexico. Kris Kobach, you've been running for a long time, and you are on the threshold now. 13 days to go. Work hard. I know you will.
Thanks, Lou.
Appreciate it, Kris. Great to see you.